Welcome back to the Typhoon Tournament Expert Division qualifying round, hole number 4. Here we're going to be setting up for a Goliath rough bump using a Kingmaker. APOC 5 plus on the drive, Goliath 8 plus on the approach. Now you can use lower level Goliaths, but the ring references are going to change and it's a different accuracy, so you may have to play around with the numbers a little bit for the lower level Goliaths. You do have the distance, you can play it, but it's a different ball guide, different accuracy, so you might have to tweak the offset and setup for the approach shot with lower level Goliath. The adjustment on the drive is P3 plus 10% max, 5 top spin, 3 right spin. It's important to pull this one straight because we're going to pay attention to the plus yards that we pull down to, and we're also paying attention to the drive yards that we get to. So pull this one as straight as you can to make sure that you don't catch a speed roll here. If you get the more tailwind angle and you adjust down to the plus 3 or lower, then you need to add, baby underpower, like half the teeth underpower, so that you don't catch a speed roll and roll out of Goliath range. Even if you do catch the speed roll, it's still safely on the fairway, but it's going to be a short iron shot that you won't be able to play the rough bump. It's a lot more difficult to make. So it's not like you can't get there for the easy birdie if you do catch the speed roll, but we're trying to prevent that so that we can stay in Goliath range and play this rough bump. So pay attention to your drive yards. I drove 363 there. 363 is 20% slider. 362 is 22. 361 is 24% slider. 360 is 27. 364 is 17. 365 is 15. 366 is 12. All right. That's your slider numbers to drive yards. For the approach, we're always setting up with 4 top spin, 3 left spin, and we're playing this approach at P3 minus 50% elevation at slider. So P3 minus 50 at slider. And the reason for that is because we're pulling down the hill, and this prevents us from having to do any push-up or overpower on the approach shot. So we're having to offset this left and play it with this elevation, and that gives us a nice easy approach where we don't have to do anything crazy like count rings up, push rings up, play a certain amount of underpower, yada yada yada, right? So playing it with this setup and this offset gives us the ability to not have to do any of that stuff. So with your spins added, 4 top spin, 3 left spin, you want the green ring touching the fairway on top right there, and then you want the tip of the ball guide to be just off of the line by about a cup, and that's 3 lines left of the hole, right? So you want to be just off of that third line, which is here, right? By about that much, by about a cup, right? So once you get that top of the green ring touching, have the tip of your ball guide about a cup off of that third line to the left of the pin, then you'll adjust P3 minus 50% at slider depending on your drive yardage. Now, a couple of tweaks that I've made since this drop. You're going to see I'm going to add curl to this one. And it's the reason I'm adding curl is because I had a higher wind and I hadn't added the wind strength tweaks to this approach. So I'm adding curl to compensate for pulling further down the hill. If your winds are 12.9 or lower on this approach, then there's no change. right? Everything the same. If your wind is between 13 and 13.5 mile an hour, minus zero point 0.1 from the adjustment. If your wind is 13.6 or higher, then minus zero point 0.2 from the adjustment. And then you shouldn't need the curl that I'm going to add here. All right, I'm going to show you a drop 12.8 with no curl. All right, that's our offset. Make sure that you're offset like that with the top of the green ring touching, right? Now this is a 12.8 mile an hour wind. I didn't do any curl here. And you see this one drops nicely. Actually, I think I accidentally had like one click of left curl on this, but it should be fine. If you just minus 0.1 for 13 to 13.5, minus 0.2 for 13.6 or higher, you shouldn't need any curl. Drop this one a few times, so it's actually a pretty good approach shot. If you practice this a couple times, might need to make some minor tweaks for your pull angle, pull style, what you see, what you don't. You see, I had a click of left curl. I came in the left side. If I wouldn't have had that click of left curl, it would have came in center cup. So the shot's there. Just make sure to minus 0.1 between 13 and 13.5 and minus 0.2 for 13.6 or above. You shouldn't need any curl. 4 top, 3 left, P3, minus 50 at slider. Good luck. Hope you get the drop, and we'll see you on the next hole.